Da, 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 da. Woo! We're live! Hi, everybody!
Hello, everybody!
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Chandana. Hello, Imene. We are
Markéta.
here from all
Hello.
over the world, and it's amazing. So, ladies,
It is.
what are we going to talk about?
So,
Brand new world out there that's waiting for us to acknowledge it.
yes, exactly. And we already had a beautiful, beautiful conversation from
Yeah.
before. So we're basically just going to let you in on our journey or whatever. What do we call it? Like the ride. Let's let's let people on our ride. I would love to know more of what you ladies can talk about when you talk about receiving from entities. What can you say about that?
Chandana, go for it.
Okay. I like the way it's kind of repeating itself.
Well, maybe it's not.
Well,
I mean, you
creating.
can talk. Yeah, you can go
Yeah.
wherever you want.
So, it's really interesting when you talk about receiving, and most of us look at receiving as something that we can take from, or the rightness of what we should receive versus not receive what we've decided is wrong or it's terrible. And one of the most non-receivable parts on this planet is probably from the spirit kingdom. It's so judged, it's been made so wrong, by everyone, almost everybody across all lifetimes, that we've kind of started to buy that as true without even asking a question or what is true for me about receiving from the entity world, because for each one of us it's going to be so different. But for me, like, there is really no connection. There was no connection in my world between my bodies and the entity world. It was just that, okay, I have a body and they don't have a body, which is actually more of a separation than a receiving. And when I did the Talk to the Entities class for the first time, I started to recognize and I started to acknowledge that true receiving comes only when I'm willing to acknowledge the entity world. And that's the true embodiment of joy. Because where there is a separation, there is no joy. There's just judgment. So, if I'm asking for joy in my world, if I'm asking for ease with my body, am I truly willing to be the inclusion that facilitates me into receiving? Or am I choosing the judgment of separation?
It's
And that
beautiful.
really did, that just kind of expanded my world. So, yeah.
And Chandana, you said joy. And actually, with tools, talk to entities, I started to receive more from the spirits of the earth. And I realized this is something, as a little kid, I did naturally. I didn't need to think about anything. I was just playing outside in the nature all my childhood. And I just felt so good that I didn't need to eat. I was not tired, they just told me, you are too skinny, you have to eat. I didn't need to. I was full of energy.
Got that too.
Yeah. And
I was called a Twiggy when I was a kid, and I was like,
so we
need
are
to
all
become
Twiggy
fat.
And they had no clue. They had no clue what I was actually receiving from this amazing world. And then at like the age 5, I told you already about the story of having migraines and taking pills, because I put these like huge barriers up and nobody knew what was it. And now with the entity tools, again, I'm like, wow, I knew so many things when I was a little kid. Nobody just gave me information. I didn't get empowered, but I was living in a world of magic and fairy tale. And this was my reality, and I can have it as my reality again, And I so love really like going to the nature, receiving from all these beautiful entities that desires to contribute to us as being our bodies. And Chandana, when you were talking about this energy, reminded me, my parents, they went to Peru recently and they went to Machu Picchu. And my mom was like, she is not into any access, any talk to the entities classes, nothing. I'm really weird for them since I was a little kid. Now I know it's not wrongness. Now I know it's so
I love
like,
the acknowledgement. I'm so weird from my parents.
yeah, it's okay now, finally with all these tools,
That's
it's
awesome.
okay to be weird and I don't push anything. But my mom was talking like, you know what, we went to Machu Picchu and there was something different. And there was such an energy, such a different energy. And your father, he just went through, but I was there 3 hours talking with other ladies, but there was something different. I was like, wow. So even she like acknowledged kind of, different energies and like different. I was like, how many spirits is there? I didn't tell her,
Yeah.
but I could perceive the space she entered. So I was like, what space are we being for all people, even like those that say, no, it doesn't exist, no, these tools doesn't work, no, no, no. I'm like, what are we actually creating by choosing to engage and receive from this world, even for others? I was so happy just to hear it and be with her in this energy, because when she started to just speak about this place, I could perceive all the entities. And that's amazing. Like, you can be anywhere and you can connect from anywhere.
That
How
is
true is
so
that?
beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. And I really love what we have as an awareness. And Markéta acknowledged before how it's beautiful that three of us are here and we're different. Our bodies are in different locations. We're from different cultures. And
Yeah.
what you talked about here with your mom is us being so different, and yet all of us acknowledging the energies and having our own joy through that, through the acknowledgement, through the space that we can be. It doesn't have to look a certain way. And that's one of the things that I see most with people with talk to the entities. Like, a lot of people look for the right way of using the tools, or the right way to feel, even with
Yeah.
entities or with anything, and with their bodies as well. And it's beautiful because you talked about all of this, and it just, for me, it's just the difference that the difference that you be with your body, where it doesn't need to eat that much with like other bodies, and maybe it needs to eat more, maybe not. It's this beautiful differences that we be, and that when we acknowledge, can contribute to us and can allow us to be that inspiration for others. And like you're being with your mom, and also receiving her difference, she doesn't have to talk about what you're talking about, right? Or give the same words, but it's this inclusion of all of us where we can gift and receive at the same time. And that is the inclusion of everything in the world. It's beyond what the mind can actually compute and explain. And when you're allowing yourself to go beyond the explanation that your mind gives, you're in more receiving, you're in more of you, you're in more of the
Yeah.
joy that
Yeah.
you both talked
It's
about.
that, Amen. Thank you for talking about exactly where we s- we kind of stop, we kind of put our barriers up, and we stop allowing ourselves to receive what is true for us, simply because we have this point of view that we need the proof, or we've got to be validated for what we know. And all of this need of proof, and the need to be validated about the spirit kingdom actually being there, is what takes us away from actually receiving from that beautiful infiniteness of possibilities that they are here to gift you. And it's so interesting because in our previous conversation, which a few of you were not on, we had a little chat, the three of us earlier, and we were just talking about how, Marketa had a migraine from a really young age. Imene was having asthma from a really young age, and she had allergies in her body. I had something called fibromyalgia for almost 19 years, and we were all on medication when we actually stumbled upon the tools of access consciousness. And it's so interesting, and that we stumbled on the tools of talk to the entities. And it's so interesting because each one of our bodies changed when we allowed the tools into our world. your willingness to allow the tools into the world, is your willingness to embrace the spirit kingdom as a part of your universe, of your world that's actually here, that exists, even if you can't see it, even if you cannot prove it to anybody or you can't validate it. Because it's like, the spirit kingdom is here as a beautiful contribution to each one of us. If you're willing, if you're willing to put our barriers down and ask questions around it. Because like we talked about earlier, the every object, everything in this universe has been created as a contribution to you, to your bodies, except for thinking. And the only thing that we really use is our thinking capacity. We're like, it's not even a capacity, it's something that we use to destroy ourselves. But we've been so trained to think ourselves into not trusting ourselves, that if we truly allowed ourselves to give up thinking and to question that, would have us trusting what we've always known is true, not just about the spirit kingdom, but about everything else around you.
And this is beautiful what you say, Chandana. And I am so grateful for Talk to the Entities tools also with my kids, because I have 7 years old daughter and 4 years old son. And it's so amazing to have these tools and to empower them to know what they know,
Yeah.
And once Patrick, he has like really terrible cough. He was coughing, but like 3 weeks, and it was like, it didn't look good. And I was like, do we go to the doctor? I asked him, like, do we go to the doctor? And he was like, no. I was like, so we will manage together? And he was like, yes. So we were running body processes. I was asking his body, and I was like, hey, honey, who does this belong to? Like, is it yours or is it somebody else? And he told me, I'm like, hey, where did you meet the zombie? And he was over there on a tree. And he wanted to go to die, but he didn't want to die with the cough. And I was like, so you took it from him? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, and like, who is the director of your body? Is it you or him? And he was like, yeah, it's him. I was like, wow, interesting. So we were leading this conversation. And at the end, like, he was like, I can't give it to him anymore. And I was like, so give it to the earth. Like, earth doesn't have any point of view about anything. You can give it to the earth. And she will be happy, and you will be happy, and your body will be happy, and you can receive the contribution. And in a couple of days, he was like, hey, Mom, I gave it to the earth. And the cough started to get better. And in a couple of days, he was okay, And I was like, oh, my God, like, if I didn't have these tools, it would be just fantasy. I would be laughing at him. I would not have the conversation with him. I would not empower him, what he knows, And
You would,
we would get antibiotics or like, I don't know what else, but I'm like, oh my God, like, this is incredible. And he knows what he knows. And like, also Nella, my daughter, she was supposed to go to English class today to her friend to another house. And she was like, Mom, I don't perceive good energies there. I don't want to go there.
Wow.
And I was like, honey, I get it. And I totally respect it, because I tell her, if you perceive you are not supposed to be at any place, don't go there. Trust yourself. So I was like, I will figure it out in a different way. And she was like, you know what? I perceive so many weird energies and I don't want to go there. I'm like, it's okay. So I'm like, this is so good. Like, empower kids that they know. I don't need to like be scared. I don't have this destructive implants of fear. And if I do, I work with that. But this is like the best. I know they know, and I empower them. They know. And if they tell me that, I don't pursue them. I just acknowledge they are aware of these energies. And they just said to me that. And I'm like, yeah, I perceive it as well.
How cool is that?
Markéta. Yeah. And that really also, I mean, it's just so beautiful to see how a parent, when, you're willing to acknowledge something that no other parent would readily acknowledge, because they're trying so hard to keep their children away from that. And when you acknowledge that, yes, this is true. Yes, I trust what I know. you are actually facilitating your kids into knowing what they know without doubting what they know. And what a generation of empowered children can that be? What a generation of empowered beings would that be then?
And you know what, ladies? She is facilitating me.
Yeah.
And once she was like, "Mom, can you put us into bed tonight?" I was like, "Hey, honey, I have some calls. I love to create my stuff, so sometimes you need to go to bed with your father." And Nella was like, "Yeah, father, he is going to work, so he has a boss, right? But you don't have any boss. Like you create what you want." I was like, "Yes, exactly." And she looked at me and she asked me, "So, Mom, how many of you is in your body?" I'm like, "Fuck, 3." And she looked at me directly and she was like, "So, Mom, you fire your boss." And I went to demon clearing and I was like, "Honey, thank you very much."
Wow.
I was so grateful. I was like, wow. And that was the point when I was like, this girl is ready for the world.
Yeah.
And can I just acknowledge the vulnerability that you would have to have? Because you're acknowledging her, you're acknowledging the tools, but how much vulnerability would you have to empower them, but also to receive from them, and that being that gifting and receiving? Because that is being so fucking different. And very few people are willing to parent like that and receive so much from their kids. I'm just wow. Thank you for being that
Truly.
in the
Truly.
world.
Thank you, ladies. It's normal for me.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I needed to say that.
Thank you. And I ask every day, what else can I receive from my kids? Because I know we can receive so much. And when I was a little kid, I was lost because I perceived all the energies. They told me, this is like really nice, uncle, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, he is not. I'm aware of so many energies. This is not nice, uncle. And nobody empowered me. And I perceived so many energies during night. And they told me, hey, it doesn't exist. You invent all the things. So it was painful, actually. That then I like figure out how to kind of, like we all know that, how to diminish ourselves. And I'm like,
You're brilliant at that.
I'm also asking what actually kids need for this world. And it's to trust themselves that they know what they know and that they have them, even though I'm not there.
That is awesome. That is so
And that,
beautiful.
yeah, and that facilitation of who they are being for you and who you are being for them, with the willingness of actually acknowledging that yes, the spirit kingdom is here, even if you don't get to see it. The spirit kingdom is here, always constantly willing to gift you. The spirit kingdom is here, constantly wanting, willing to cooperate with you. It's all about, are you willing to open yourself up to that? Or would you keep your barriers up and resist receiving the infinite possibilities?
Yay to that. So
Yeah.
how many possibilities can we open up to today and every day? With everything, with ourselves, with our bodies, and with everyone else. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for this. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you, Imene. Thank you, Markéta. Yeah, it's really been interesting how, like Imene mentioned, how we are all from different countries, and yet there's such an energy of inclusion that we are willing to be with what we know.
Yeah.
And there's this space with you ladies, like there is no culture, there is no borders. There are just beings that are willing to choose something really different and be different. And if you talk to entities, you have to acknowledge you are really different and acknowledge that this is a gift, because how often it's the weirdness. Yay, hello entities!
I love that.
You're celebrating it up! I love it.
That is so cool.
Oh, that is so funny. Okay, thank you.
This is beautiful. I love the light going to your.
I know. I'm like, how
Yeah.
should I sit? How should I sit?
It's like, thank you, entities. Thank you, entities, for the contribution,
Oh.
Yubi, and like
Aw.
being here
You're
with us.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you,
amazing.
ladies. Thank
Lovely.
you. Thank you so much. And how does it get any better?
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Thank
See
you,
Thank
you next
everyone, for
you.
time.
joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.